November, I think it was. So 16 years in New Zealand, 7,500 students per year. Well, that's now gone up. We've just put a record year this year, so we've got the most amount of students in. We've got 18,000 students this year. So we're very happy. Terry's very happy with us. So yeah, it's really worked well. And we have 200 volunteers from Rotary that assist us with the workshops every year as well. So we target the Year 12 students. That's because that's where they're on their learners and restricted, and the most likely to start doing silly things. So the road toll unfortunately increased. We had 60 more deaths last year than the year before, so not good. It's, and we've got 88 of those being young people. So they're 10 times more likely to be seriously injured in a road crash. And we call it a crash, it's not an accident. Okay? And yeah, so this is what we stress to them. It's the most dangerous thing that they're going to do, is get behind a wheel of a car. And that's how we sort of kick it off with them. So the vision, we were endorsed by Waka Kotahi, which was a massive effort on behalf of Maria Lovelock, who's the GM in New Zealand. So to be endorsed by them is amazing. But what we're teaching them is that it's road to zero, and road to zero doesn't mean zero crashes. It means we want them to, if they do crash, to not die or have a serious injury. So that's the goal. For us, and this is that's sort of the structure of the whole day for the kids, is that we want them to learn ways to minimise their risk. The program's put together by these. This is our advisory council. They're all based in Australia, New Zealand, and the program's very scripted and based on the evidence. Both research, and so there's a lot of work that goes into the day and the way that we deliver it, and everything links together. So we've got some really amazing help. So, as I said, our objectives is identify crash factors and how they can be preventable, appreciate how personal factors affect the risk, develop strategies, and see driving as a social responsibility, and understand why the rules are there. The police don't just make them up. We show them the statistics behind that, so they understand why they have their restrictions. So I've probably attended some of the workshops, but we run 6 sessions on the day, and as I said, they all link back. And we've got pre and post learning for teachers, so there's a whole lot of stuff, resource online that they link through the teachers portal to embed the learning at school pre and play. And we've actually just had funding to and employed an education specialist. He's an ex-teacher. He's a driving instructor. He understands the unit standards and the way everything works in the school. So he's just joined us, and he's been really good so far. So each session's objectives, we'll just run through those. So understanding the safe system, again that's from Road to Zero, the 4 factors that link through that to reduce the severity. So speed and stopping, this is a great one, the kids love this. So understanding the relationship between speed and how long it takes them to stop at different speeds. Appreciate the responsibility of vulnerable road users. What is a 5-star car? And I managed last year to get myself sponsored by Toyota for the speed and stopping session, because I was always borrowing a car, and it was just getting so hard, and the driving instructors who run the sessions were not keen on using theirs. So I phoned up Ryda and said, look, you've got the best reputation for a safe car, reliable car, what do you say? And after a lot of negotiation, I've managed to get a car, which is amazing. So we show them that car, and that's what a 5-star rated car, and the importance of buying as many stars as they can afford when they get their first car. With this out. Maybe that's the only one. This is the feedback we get. Every session we run, the teachers, we ask them to fill in a survey and evaluate the course, and that feedback builds in every year, changes that we make to tweak the program to keep it relevant and up to date. 95% it should be compulsory, and that's our goal, is to get it into every school. 82% give Ryda the highest rating for effectiveness. 99% agree that Ryda increased students' awareness, and 100% recommend it to colleagues at other schools. And that last one's really helped me. If I get teachers moving around who have run Ryda at a previous school, I ring them up at their new school who might not be doing it, and they just say, no brainer, we'll do it. So it really is, they really rate the program. 85% of students said Ryda changed their awareness of their personal risk, and 90% said they apply it when they're driving. So it's very well, it does the job. It's affecting a behavioural change in the kids. So yeah, that's really a really brief overview of it. We, going forward, want as many schools obviously as possible. Karen's and Rob helped with getting Michael Park, who've started. They've joined a school, so that's fantastic. We're working on Barradine to come along. What we'd like is for you guys to spread the word, and if you're ever talking to other schools within your area, to recommend that they run Ryda, or ask if they are currently running Ryda, that you would support them. On the workshop days, we do ask Rotary are valuable at helping us with the kids and moving them between sessions. So you get given a group of children as a colour band system, and then you just run them through the day and make sure that they run on time, they move quickly between sessions, help with discipline, and also Rotary is amazing at answering the kids' questions. They quite often have questions, or they want to tell a story, so they'll tell it to the Rotary volunteer. So it's really, really, really helpful on the day. Also contributing to the day financially, to help with buses, to the venue hire, things like that is also another thing that other Rotary clubs have done, and I know that LSD is helping us as well, so it's fantastic. And as sort of we get bigger and I'm getting more and more schools on board, it's sort of a catch-22. We need to find more money to run them, because we heavily subsidise the program, so that the schools don't have to pay the full cost. So it costs about $65 per student after venue hire, hiring the staff, catering, all that sort of thing. We charge max $15 per student. If it's a school I know that can afford it, I'll charge them full whack. If it's not a school who can afford it, we find the money elsewhere and apply for funding and trusts and grants, and we've got a dedicated person who does that. So it's always a little bit of a balancing act, but Terry's great. He says just go get them and we'll find the money. So we just want to get as many people through it as possible. Yeah, so we'll be running, Michael Park is joining another school. I think they're joining Elam at Pakuranga Rugby Club. So I will send that through, and if anybody wants to come along the day, you're most welcome. And I'm hoping to get Barradine shortly. They've got a new teacher there, so it's just a transition through that. And if you have any other schools that you think I can get into in your region, just let me know. Or have contacts, let me know. And it's a huge help to be able to drop the Rotary name and get into a school that way. Yeah, any questions?
So what sort of percentage of the schools in the Auckland area, how many support this program?
We've got 35 in Auckland, I think, 35, 30 in Auckland, 5 in Northland. So that's a small amount of schools. So that's my mission, is to get more and more schools, mostly South and West Auckland schools. So we're very well supported with the George Wilson from the Southern and the Henderson Rotary Club help with those areas. I really struggle with Central, but I've just picked up St Mary's and I've just picked up Dilworth through Terry Mickelson from the Newmarket Club, so that was great. And the North Shore, I've just picked up, we've got Rosmini, and I'm now inviting, and that's the other thing I do, is I invite other schools to come to the day and view a little bit of it so that they can get a feel for it and go, yes, we should run this for our kids. So yeah, I really, South and West are good. I really want to build Central, and I really want to just get North Shore pumping, because they're, for some reason, notoriously bad at signing up for stuff like that.
You've got each station with a group of kids going around.
Yes.
How many stations do you have, and what's the
6.
capacity of each station?
Yeah, so we run the capacity of kids, we try to keep them about 30 per group to make the day efficient financially and for, you know, as to get as many through. We quite often join small schools together to get that bigger group. And then they run through the 6 sessions, and they're half-hour sessions with 5 minutes in between. They break for morning tea and lunch. And yeah, so it's a really concise, compact day. It doesn't, and it runs from sort of 9:30 till 2, so that they can get back to school.
It seems a no-brainer to me. You know, why is it difficult to get the schools on board?
Yeah, they have so many other things outside the classroom, education outside the classroom. So it's a money thing quite often. It's getting them out. So someone like Auckland Grammar, when that boy got run over up in Omaha, I rang and said, hey, you should be running something like this in your school. And he agreed, but they have a policy of not taking their the students out of school because of academic. So some will just not do it because they're solely focused on academic. It's crazy, yeah.
It's not something you can do on site at school?
Yes, we try, but again, we need four classrooms and a big hall. So taking up real estate out of the day is really tricky. In the smaller schools, we run them at school, but that's because we can run like a 2-group day because there's only a small amount of students, so you don't need as much space. Yeah, it's mainly money, it's mainly just getting them outside the classroom. Finding the time in the school calendar is really tricky for them. And because it's year 12, it is it's like their NCEA lead year. So terms 1 and term 2 is when they'll do it. They can't do it in term 3 because that's exam time. And also a lot of the schools, especially in South Auckland and Northland, compete in kapahaka, which is and Polyfest and all that sort of thing. So that takes them out. Sport, they've got so much time that gets sucked up in their school year. But once they've done Ryda, that's it. They'll never, I've never really had one say no, unless they've got issues with teachers. That's another big thing at the moment. They're really struggling for teachers, and you need to have at least one teacher per group as well. So I've had some, and the teachers are about to strike, so that puts another thing in. So I was supposed to run a massive day with Manuel Ryda, but they've had to move it because their teachers are going to be striking. So yeah, it's big challenges. COVID obviously, so the kids are in massive catch-up mode. And then we've got a storm, so they shut the schools. Yeah, it's been challenging 3 years, but hopefully the rest of 2023 is better. So
when you run a session and when you require us as Rotarian volunteers, how will we know?
So what I'll do is
Rob
yeah. So I'll send a thing to Rob and say, this is the school, they've signed up, this is the date, could you request any volunteers to help? And then you come along the day about 8:45 to the venue. The venue changes, so it could be Auckland. I've just recruited, signed up. Auckland Netball is a great venue.
Yes.
and I give you a site briefing, show you the rooms where each session is, and I'll leave you some information behind so that you can see what the teachers, sort of, what they go through. That's sort of an example of a timetable, and the kids go through, they get a colour and they just rotate through their sessions. And so the volunteer is shown through what rooms go where, given a safety briefing, and then you allocated a group of students to herd around. Yeah, and they're very good. The kids are great. I've never really had any issues at all. In fact, yeah, most of them at the end, some of the West Auckland schools give you a haka and it's very moving. Yeah. So yeah, I'll leave that behind. This gives a better example of the sessions and the learning objectives that we want out of each one, and also teacher resources so that you can see the links to the curriculum that we've embedded in it. And that gives you an overview of each session and the learning outcomes. Yeah.
Does this have to be aligned with the school, or can it be aligned with, for example, the place I work, we have a large volunteer team, and we are slap bang in the middle of the resistant school zone. So we've got a lot of volunteers from St Cuthbert's, Eggs, a few from Grammar, but those schools, so they participate as volunteers. Has there been a precedent where the course has been run outside of the school?
Yeah.
And because it strikes me that there are different ways for
Yes, no,
accessing these
we have
kids.
done that, and that is actually something that we're probably going to get more and more into with at-risk youth. Downer Construction have a program where they take some gateway students and they fully wrap everything around them. So they buy them their safety gear, they put them through their driver's license, they pay for everything, obviously to recruit them as employees in the end. And we run that program for that group, and that's just a small group of kids.
Because we have gateway kids come to us from some of the schools, sort of One Tree
Hill,
and Otahu.
Yeah.
We have them from various schools that come to us.
Right. We do that, and I've actually just Oranga Tamariki have got kids that have grew up for reckless driving, and if they just go through something like this, one break in the chain, that's what we teach them. It's all preventable. Think about it, make a good choice. So we do that sort of thing for smaller groups. Step for Success is another one that we've been put onto with Auckland Transport. So Auckland Transport don't give us any money at the moment, but we're working really hard to try and get some funding out of them. But they put us onto similar things for youth who, school's not a thing for them. So, but they're very employable, and once they have their license, they've got a job. So
Yeah.
What is the structure of Ryda? Who's in your employer?
Right. So Ryda is the GM of New Zealand. We report through to Australia, and that's Terry Burst, who's the CEO up there, and they have a big group running it in Australia. And in New Zealand then I do Auckland Northland. We have a lady based in Hamilton who does the Waikato region up to Taranaki, and then we have a person who does the Wellington region up to Gisborne and around, and then one girl, Neve, who's amazing, does the whole of the South Island.
So it's a commercial operation by...
No, it's a trust.
It's a trust. We report through to a trust and a board.
It was actually originally supported by Devonport, I think. Takapuna.
Yeah, they started it.
Takapuna.
Yeah.
Terry's father was a member of Takapuna many years, and Takapuna effectively sponsored it and got it going here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear on the messaging on radio and that sort of thing that there are some businesses involved in supporting it. is that an area that you're obviously working on to as a source of funding to
Yeah.
increase?
I feel sorry for Maria because I'm always going, have you tried this? Have you approached them? And blah, blah, blah. We're always looking for money. So we're sponsored by BOC Gases, Bridgestone Tyres,
New Zealand Steel.
New Zealand Steel,
Yeah.
and VTNZ. I don't think I've missed anyone off. Yeah, that's them. We're working on Toyota through my getting the car. We've now gone to Toyota head office and said, would be great if you supported us. Maria's talking to ACC. You think that would be a no-brainer for them to sponsor us to prevent. Because one of the sessions, and it sort of culminates at the end, is a crash survivor comes in. My crash survivor is Kelly. She was 21. She did, and this sounds terrible, but she covers everything. She did everything wrong that we want to teach the students about, or just about everything. So she had been up for 17 hours, which is the same as driving drunk. She was studying and then she'd gone into town. She didn't drink, she wasn't drinking. Her dad phoned and the family dog had died in Tauranga. So she was upset, which is one of the sessions we do, is mind state, how if you're angry, sad, it affects your driving. Then she thought, she just bought her new car. It was amazing. She thought it was, the bomb. At 2 o'clock in the morning, she decided, I'm going to drive to Tauranga and be there for the dog to be buried. And half an hour down the southern motorway, fell asleep. At 100 kilometres, hit the only tree on the side of the motorway, which is another thing we teach them. The roads are rated, and Waka here is in the process of lifting the ratings of bad roads, removing things like trees and putting in barriers and stuff like that. But at the time, that hadn't been done. Her car was 1-star rated. It had one airbag, no side airbags, so she had it side on. She survived because the emergency services were up the road at another incident and heard the bang, and she was right next to Middlemore Hospital. So a whole lot of stuff happened, and that's, so that's, and the culmination of the day, and that's what we teach the kids about: safety, the roads, mind state, sleep, all of those things that they need to be hyper aware of at their age. And why, and then we go through passengers in the car. They are 100% more likely to crash if they have passengers in the car, other than someone 35 and up with a bike. So, yeah, so, sorry, I don't know how I got onto that, the question was, but, yeah.
What happens with homeschool kids?
We have approached them to do it. Haven't heard back. I think they have run it before. I haven't done it with the homeschool kids, but I think we just organise a venue and they get as many as possible and to do it. Yeah.
The percentage of road deaths on the road, is it mainly in the North Island or the South Island?
I don't know, actually. I'd say it would be fairly evenly split. I'm not sure.
Age group wise,
Yeah.
age group wise, is it more dense?
Age group wise, it's like, I think it's 22% of the youth, 18 to 24.
Has there ever been discussion of the same thing for mature drivers? Because in my experience of walking most days to work, I mean, and I'm not taking a poke at the people in the room, but the mature driver in an e-car, like a Tesla, is a ticking time bomb actually, because they've got far more power and incredibly poor driving practices around, just particularly around other users of space, and I don't mean drivers, I mean cyclists or pedestrians.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
I think road safety education covers everybody. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We that's something that it does come up. I think other agencies would like to, or should do something about, running.
Because at my workplace, we've got a van for residents. And the thing that's daunting is when we got that van, I put a rule in place that we all had to go out. First of all, we had to take instruction we had to drive it with a colleague. We then had to be tested by the AA driving instructor. And absolutely fascinating when you're in a big vehicle and you've been an experienced driver and you've got someone next to you who is just watching your driving.
Yeah.
And the feedback you get and the learning
Yeah.
that you get out of the exercise. And I just think that, you know, that we've got that system in place, but most of us don't go through being retested.
No. And it's the thing, I mean, I've been a lot of businesses do it. I know when I was working for Lime Breweries, we got given company cars. And before we got our new car, every year we had to go out to Pukekohe and do, drive it. And they would teach you how to use the ABS, they'd run through the car with you.
Brilliant.
You know, so that's, I think that's, different things will happen with different businesses. I know Downer are really, really good with their drivers. BOC gases, they've just removed all their hands-free from all their driving, so you can't, even hands-free, as you will reduce your brain reduces by like 40%. So yeah, talking on the phone is not good.
Yeah, just that conversation has reminded me, and I was thinking before, you know, the schools that are not participating upper decile or upper, financial, those kids are driving big, powerful cars.
They are.
Yeah.
And following on from Jill's comment, the other group that, would be able to get to them through early childhood and care centres, childcare centres, are the young mums who don't need to work, who are driving these big, powerful four-wheel drives, and they think they're rally drivers as they go around the chicanes on the road.
Yeah.
It's frightening to watch those women and these little kids strapped in the back. It's really
and you would have seen it, and this is going to be, it's contentious, and everyone's got their views, but the speed limits are going to come down, or started to come down already. So 30 is going to be the new speed limit around a school. There's an article in the paper today about why that limit is there, but you will not, if you hit someone at 30, you won't not kill them, or you'll hurt them, but you won't kill them. So that's going to be a massive thing. Your hundreds on some of the rural roads will come to 80, even 60. So that's going to be a massive difference. So countries, it's not just New Zealand who's doing Road to Zero, it's a global initiative. The guy running it is a New Zealander, and if you ever YouTube him, he's amazing. He does an amazing talk about why all these things, speed, fixing the roads, safer cars. I mean, these kids too, this is, my car, this new car I've got, it tells me off. So these kids are going to be in like 5, 6, 7 years driving hydrogen, electric, hybrid cars that have auto lane, things as automatic braking if it hits. They're going to be in lots of cars. So the cars, the roads, the speed limits, all of that stuff is going to start having an impact on bringing down the road toll.
Is there any work done on, at the moment, most of what is happening is wrapping in cotton wool, to a degree, and I'm purposely being a little bit controversial here, as opposed to mixing that with skills-based and getting people to manage their risk through good driving and good skills, which is different than slowing everybody down to the
it's a
speed of a
combination
running
of
cat,
it.
basically.
It's a combination of all of those. The 30 is around schools, and that's, but yeah, it's a combination of all of those things. And, I think, Waka are looking at the licensing system. We know that they're going to change the way licenses are issued and what has to be done. I'm not sure, maybe more like Australia, we have to have so many hours on the road before you can get restricted. At the moment, we don't have that.
The Finnish idea is far better.
What's the Finnish one?
As in Finland, how they got done. It's a complete thing, and you get little old ladies of 60 doing four-wheel drifts through in ice in order to get to where they're going.
Exactly. Yeah, it's just, it is, if you are taught better, yeah, you're going to be a better driver.
Just one more comment, following on from
Last
Jill.
one.
I've just had a medical examination for my birthday driver's license, and the doctor was incredibly thorough, including an abdominal pressing around. I said, what on earth are you doing that for? She said, I'm looking for femoral aneurysms that could take you out while you're driving. I mean, she was incredibly thorough, and I was horrified. And it just went on and on.
The look on Alice's face.
And she then said to me, you have no idea, Sylvie, how many people of your age should not be on the road.
Yeah.
That absolutely shocked me.
Yeah.
The thought of anyone taking my driver's license, like chopping my legs off.
I know, and it is
Unbelievable.
it's a total loss of independence, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that's the thing, you know. It is, but it is the most dangerous thing you can do. Yeah, exactly.
Right, thanks.
Oh, I just.
Oh, who's doing the thank you?
Oh, yes.
Yes, yes.
You got carried away with that, didn't you?
If you'll